Presidential corruption through crypto. Those searing words from Senator Elizabeth Warren instantly ignite today's story like a bolt of lightning across the political sky. What on earth could possibly cause such an explosive accusation in the halls of the United States Senate? And how is this linked to the future of stablecoins? Those digital assets we keep hearing about that aspire to blend the reliability of traditional finance with the cutting-edge speed of blockchain technology? Today, we are going to dissect the fierce battle shaping up around the guiding and establishing national innovation for United States Stablecoins Act, better known as the Genius Act, and find out why supporters and critics alike say it could redefine the entire digital asset world. So, here is the burning question. Why would some senators push so hard for the Genius Act, despite shrill warnings from Warren about presidential corruption through crypto? And why, after a tense series of votes, did the Senate manage to advance this controversial legislation by a margin of 68 to 30? This story has everything: high-stakes political theater, global financial power struggles, possible conflicts of interest from a former president, and the potential to reshape how America interacts with digital currencies. In this deep dive, we will unravel the intricate threads that bind new technology with old concerns about oversight, democracy, and money. We will examine the biggest sticking points, like the question of how to audit stablecoin issuers with more than $50 billion in market value, and concerns over foreign players who might hold the keys to a huge chunk of the stablecoin market. In this episode, we will peel back layer after layer, from Tim Scott's passionate sponsorship of the bill to the White House's stated support, from the looming House counterpart legislation to the fear that the Genius Act could pave the way for foreign governments and private corporations to wield undue power through digital currencies. And just when you think you have the gist of it, we will reveal even deeper controversies, including allegations involving Donald Trump's ties to a special DeFi venture, promising exclusive perks to meme coin enthusiasts. Then we will see how this all ties back to the warring factions within our legislative branch, some of whom see blockchain as the new frontier of prosperity, while others view it as a dark pool waiting to swallow unsuspecting consumers through shady transactions. Get ready, because we are about to examine some of the most dramatic claims in modern American politics, and we are going to do it in a way that keeps your pulse racing until the very end. Let us start by exploring what exactly stablecoins are and why they create such a buzz. Imagine a digital token pegged to a stable asset, most commonly the United States dollar, that aims to maintain its price at a near constant level, insulating it from the volatility that plagues many cryptocurrencies. The Genius Act proposes to corral these tokens under an official regulatory umbrella so robust it would require them to be backed by legitimate, highly liquid assets. Issuers holding more than $50 billion of these tokens would be subject to annual audits, forcing transparency that supporters of the legislation argue is desperately needed. Why does this matter? Because stablecoins promise near-instant transfers, around-the-clock availability, and the potential to bypass old-school banking limits, but they also risk fueling an unregulated money market. While the crypto faithful see stablecoins as freedom from global banking friction, Warren and her allies interpret it as a possible invitation for money laundering, foreign interference, or even direct purchasing of political influence. Although the Senate advanced the Genius Act with a decisive cloture vote, signaling enough support to continue debate, there is still a war of words raging among legislators. On one side, Senate Banking Chair Tim Scott and Majority Leader John Thune see the bill as a beacon of American leadership, an opportunity to show the world that the United States can indeed regulate new financial frontiers responsibly without stifling innovation. They point to the possibility of bringing capital back to the homeland, creating jobs, and preventing foreign stablecoin issuers from swallowing up American influence in the digital finance space. On the other side, Warren and several Democrats, including Chuck Schumer and Amy Klobuchar, worry that rushing this legislation might leave gaping back doors for shady financial dealings, especially when the occupant of the Oval Office, or a high-profile former occupant, stands to benefit from the shadowy corners of decentralized finance. Warren's particularly fiery rhetoric sprang up when she accused the former president, Donald Trump, of using crypto ventures as a pipeline for trading political favors. Specifically, she took aim at Trump's proximity to World Liberty Financial, a decentralized finance enterprise that apparently minted its own stablecoin. As if that were not sensational enough, it allegedly dangled a dinner with Trump as a perk for meme coin holders, raising all kinds of red flags about potential bribery schemes and foreign meddling. The White House, however, gave a statement that if the Genius Act reaches the president's desk, senior advisors would recommend signing it, This curious intersection of pro-crypto sentiments from Trump's administration and the suspicious glare it triggered in certain Senate circles sets the stage for mounting intrigue. With so many swirling rumors about potential corruption, it is little wonder that Warren's passionate speech branded the legislative body's willingness to advance the Genius Act as a direct endorsement of enabling Trump's maneuvers. Still, the White House defends its perspective, framing stablecoins not as some underworld currency, but as a crucial piece in modernizing American finance for the digital era. They argue it could help the country remain competitive globally. Major supporters of the Genius Act claim a thorough regulatory framework means stablecoins can be integrated into mainstream banking without the element of gamble. For them, the alternative, allowing stablecoins to flourish in a loosely governed environment, risks a major meltdown akin to the shadow banking crises of old, only this time it could be powered by unstoppable blockchain code that even the government might struggle to rein in. But that is exactly where the tension lies: financial freedom or financial oversight, dynamic innovation or potential meltdown. Before we peel deeper into these power struggles, here is a quick but significant detour. If you find this exploration as fascinating as we do, now is a great moment to give this video a quick like. It lets us know you appreciate these in-depth breakdowns, and it fuels us to bring you more sharp insights. Thank you for your support as we continue our journey. Now, let us consider the House of Representatives, which is forging its own path with a separate stablecoin measure called the Stablecoin Transparency and Accountability for a Better Ledger Economy Act. Long name, yes, but it shows how seriously the House is taking the entire debate. This version is said to differ in how it handles state and federal oversight, while also paying attention to foreign issuers like Tether, a giant in the stablecoin scene that has raised repeated concerns among American lawmakers. Tether, after all, has maintained over the years that it is fully backed, though critics remain uneasy about what exactly fully backed means in practice. The House bill also attempts to strike some balance between letting states play a role in stablecoin regulation and ensuring a unified nationwide standard. The tension is that states often want to keep their own rules to attract crypto companies for local economic boosts, while the federal government wants a single, consistent approach that would presumably make it easier for big players to operate across all 50 states. Upon hearing about these House efforts, certain representatives proposed merging the stablecoin legislation with an even broader market structure bill known as the Clarity Act. As the name suggests, that piece of legislation aims to clarify the legal and regulatory guidelines around more than just stablecoins. It seeks to put a fence around the entire crypto playground. Merging them, theoretically, could streamline oversight and cover everything from how to classify digital tokens to how to mitigate money laundering risks. But with so many swirling variables, opposing viewpoints in both parties, corporate lobbying from major crypto firms, warnings of foreign infiltration, it is not a simple matter of signing on the dotted line. Indeed, the same controversies swirling around the Genius Act haunt the broader regulatory push, particularly the allegations that Trump's ongoing or potential future role in crypto ventures may compromise the unbiased enforcement of any new law. To understand the magnitude of these concerns, it helps to remember that stablecoins have rapidly evolved from a small crypto niche into a multi-hundred-billion-dollar colossus. If the issuance of stablecoins is eventually dominated by a handful of deep-pocketed players, some of which may have ties to the political elite, there could be real concerns about undue influence and the potential funneling of massive sums. Senator Warren's rhetorical broadside pictures a world where foreign banks or corporations could quietly buy up stablecoins linked directly to political clout in Washington. Perhaps that is an extreme scenario, but as the saying goes, follow the money. In this case, stablecoins function like miniature central banks, only privately managed and lacking the democratic processes that guide the Federal Reserve. Supporters of the Genius Act consider these fears overblown. Tim Scott, for example, praises the bill as a win for national security and innovation, touting how thoroughly backed stablecoins could support the United States dollar as the main reference currency in the digital sphere. If stablecoins are going to flourish globally anyway, they reason, better for them to be regulated in the United States with full transparency, rather than in some offshore haven that no legislator can effectively audit. For them, the cloture vote in the Senate was an encouraging sign that bipartisanship can still function when it comes to big transformations in finance. Meanwhile, Skeptics point out that just because a stablecoin is fully backed does not necessarily guarantee no wrongdoing. They highlight the complexity of these crypto ecosystems, which can open doors to a labyrinth of DeFi instruments spanning everything from automated lending pools to exotic trading strategies. In that realm, money can flicker between tokens and cross borders in a blink, diminishing the force of conventional regulation. At the heart of the debate is whether the Genius Act in its current form truly closes all the loopholes, or whether it simply bestows a federal seal of approval on stablecoins without genuine accountability. This line of criticism gained more traction the moment Warren pointed her spotlight on that dinner promise from World Liberty Financial. In Warren's eyes, if a stablecoin issuer can dangle the prospect of meet a major political figure for token holders, imagine how easily shady organizations might slip in with large amounts of money. The stablecoin path might then effectively disguise transactions geared toward political favoritism, sponsorship, or worse. The Senate majority, though, seems unconvinced by these allegations, or at least they believe that the benefits outweigh the accusations. Some suspect the real reason for the Democratic leadership's resistance has more to do with the optics of backing legislation that might appear to help Donald Trump. Meanwhile, Trump's supporters argue the negativity is unwarranted, claiming that the ex-president's keen interest in stablecoins aligns with his desire to see the United States remain the financial superpower of the world. They highlight that a regulated stablecoin environment can attract more investment, bring mainstream adoption, and ensure a healthy financial environment. This argument resonates with officials concerned about losing the digital currency race to other countries, particularly in Asia, where some nations have moved swiftly to embrace or at least experiment with central bank digital currencies. Love him or hate him, Trump's role in the crypto conversation is inescapable, and whenever his name comes up, you can expect sparks to fly. Of course, a big question remains. Will the House and Senate manage to reconcile their divergent bills in time to pass real legislation anytime soon? Some analysts predict that, at best, we might see a compromise hammered out after robust bargaining, while more pessimistic voices fear the entire effort could collapse into partisan gridlock. The composition of the House is also a factor. Though most representatives profess some interest in clarifying the murky status of stablecoins, unity is far from guaranteed. Critics point to the challenge of merging the stablecoin legislation with the far more wide-ranging Clarity Act without creating a monstrous piece of law that is impossible to implement. Others, however, say that this might be the most logical path, ensuring that stablecoins, often used as on-ramps to the broader crypto world, are regulated alongside the rest of that ecosystem. By now, you might be wondering, how does this all affect everyday people? After all, stablecoins might sound like an esoteric subject, more relevant to crypto traders and hardcore fintech enthusiasts than to the average person. But the new legislation could shape how we bank, how we send money overseas, and how we view national money itself. Imagine a future in which your paycheck arrives instantly in a stablecoin pegged to the United States dollar, guaranteed by regulatory frameworks that keep unscrupulous issuers at bay. Or imagine, as Warren warns, a future where stablecoins become a magnet for foreign states or influential moguls to purchase intangible yet powerful influence in American politics. The stakes are enormous, and that is why the Genius Act matters. For some, it opens a path to financial democratization. For others, it signals an alarming shift of power into a digital domain that remains partially hidden from public scrutiny. If at this point you are thinking, this is incredibly important and downright fascinating, we invite you to subscribe for more deep dives into the intricate tapestry of crypto regulation, political finance, and the future of technology. We love unpacking these stories in ways that keep you on the edge of your seat, and your subscription gives you a front-row ticket to all the action. Returning to the legislative saga, the Senate's next step is a final vote that could come as early as Monday. Some observers speculate that the two parties might strike a deal to expedite the process, especially given bipartisan interest in finishing major business before the next electoral cycle intensifies. Others note that even if the Genius Act sails through, the real test will come during reconciliation with the House's competing stablecoin bill. There, fresh controversies may well flare up, especially regarding how to treat stablecoin issuers incorporated abroad. Supporters maintain that the abrupt rise of Tether, Circle, and other big issuers in recent years shows that ignoring stablecoin regulation is no longer an option, but critics fear the federal government might move too rapidly. At the center of this whirlwind is the question of accountability. Will the annual audits for big issuers truly ensure reserves match the tokens in circulation? Will there be enough transparency to appease skeptics? Or is there still too much gray area that can be manipulated? And how exactly will regulators handle overlap between stablecoins and decentralized protocols that allow lightning-fast swaps, staking, yield farming, and so much else that thrives in the chaotic innovation of DeFi? On top of that, how will the government handle the possibility that foreign stablecoin issuers may want to undercut any limitations? Each of these threads opens up a fresh set of questions, and the tapestry of stablecoin regulation becomes ever more complicated. In the final analysis, major players like Tim Scott and John Thune argue that standing still is not an option. Crypto markets move with breakneck speed, and stablecoins in particular have escalated in use across everything from cross-border payments to alternative store-of-value approaches. The question is whether the Senate and House can craft a coherent framework that respects innovation while ensuring it does not become a Trojan horse for illicit gains. Whether the Genius Act can truly satisfy both demands remains to be seen. If it does, it could mark a turning point, establishing a structure that not only fosters technological growth, but also keeps a tight leash on potential abuses. If it fails, or if it only passes in a watered-down state, then the battles raging now will be a mere prelude to an even bigger struggle down the road. All eyes are fixed on Capitol Hill as we near the prospective final vote. Meanwhile, those in favor of the legislation are already celebrating a step toward a new era of digital finance that they argue is inevitable. Those against it remain on full alert. Their warning rang out in Elizabeth Warren's impassioned speech, insisting that the Senate is knowingly looking the other way on possible manipulations by powerful elites. And so the drama escalates, reflecting the more significant story of how the world's largest economy grapples with the unstoppable wave of crypto. That is all for now, but this story is far from over. In the coming days, we will track every twist and turn, watching to see if the Senate finalizes its version of the Genius Act, and if the House merges or modifies its stablecoin legislation to concur with the Senate. One thing is certain. Stablecoins are no longer a fringe topic, and the intersection of digital currency with real-world politics has never been more palpable. If you have stayed with us this long, you are clearly as fascinated by this unfolding saga as we are. Thank you for joining us, and remember to keep tabs on the next developments, because the stablecoin debate is only heating up, and it promises to reshape the financial landscape for decades to come.